It's been a perfect start, I'd have to say, for us. We've played some pretty good cricket. We've hung in there when needed, and I think that's what you need in a World Cup tournament play. You just sometimes got to hang in the games and win them and get the 2 points where you can. So yeah, the group's feeling really good. I think the beauty of our team at the moment is we haven't had one out and out superstar, which I think is the best way to be in a tournament situation like this. That everyone stood up and played their role when need be, whether that be with bat and ball. And I think it's been, I guess, the perfect start. And we started pretty well back in 2017, so we're wary of things potentially going wrong. But I think the way the group's moving at the moment, we're playing some good cricket at the right time, which is awesome. Yeah, I am. I think looking back on it, you're right. It's sort of been a mixed bag, but I think that's World Cup play, right? I mean, you're coming up against the best new ball attacks in the world, and sometimes you're just holding your own at one end. And fortunately for me, Rachel Haynes at the other end is absolutely on fire and sort of doing the job for us. So from my point of view, it's just hanging in there, doing what I can do and what I can control and try and make some runs, like you said, at the business end. I couldn't be hitting the ball any better, any sweeter in the nets. I feel like I'm in great positions and moving really well. So from that perspective, I feel really great and really confident leading into these back couple of games. And obviously, if we can probably get one more win, obviously in the finals. So yeah, I feel like hopefully we're peaking at the right time. I mean, I look at myself and Meg, we're probably a few runs short, but we've also played some nice innings. So from our point of view, we both looked at one another today and high-fived and said, we're due some luck and we're due for some runs. So we're excited about that. And hopefully I can do the bubble some justice, because it's working absolute wonders for me in the net. So hopefully I can do it some justice out in the field. Yeah, it's a really interesting one. I felt like the wicket in Wellington, it feels like a batting paradise, but not one of our batters has really got off to a flyer or sort of really dominated. None of the top orders have really dominated on it, which is, it sounds really funny, but I think it's just the little nuance of the ground. The wind plays a bit of a factor, and the bit of a slope on the outfield, I think, mucks with your mind a little bit when it comes to, the ends that they're bowling at and sort of the angles that they're coming in at and away from you at. So it's kind of been a little bit of a tricky thing for us to adjust to. But I guess the beauty of us playing a lot of games in Wellington is that we'll get used to those conditions. And, if we get the opportunity to play a semi-final there, we should be completely settled into what it's doing. But the wickets have been really good. We can't really fault them. I think, they started out with 300 runs and then a couple of 280s. So the wickets have been great, but I think as they get a bit more tired, as players get a bit more tired towards the back end of the tournament too, probably see the scores come down a little, but those sort of 260, 280 scores might be enough. Yeah, it's been a really interesting, I guess, 2 years of cricket, of international cricket in particular. Lots of travel and bubbles, as you say. I mean, New Zealand at the moment, they're in their worst bout of COVID at the moment, and yet we're probably in the loosest bubble that we have been. So it just shows how far the world has come with COVID and how we're all dealing with it. And obviously everybody here is triple vaxxed, so there's sort of a more of a sense of ease around the group that, if someone is to contract COVID, they're obviously not going to get seriously ill. They're probably just going to have a bit of a cough and they should be right to go after the 7 or 10 days. But yeah, look, bubble life's not easy. I think being a modern day athlete, don't get me wrong, it's the best job in the world, but it's not easy. You spend a lot of time by yourself in a hotel room. You're not really allowed to mix and mingle with the others in your team around the hotel. You can only really go outside and go for a walk, get a coffee. You can eat outside at restaurants, which in New Zealand, not a lot of them are outside due to the cold weather. So yeah, look, there's some complaints, but at the other side of that is, I think it's given us the opportunity to really get to know one another as a team and get to know your teammates, because you end up spending a lot more time with them. And I think we appreciate one another a little bit more, which has been a real blessing, I think, for our group in particular, that the last 2 years we've spent so much time together. And are really enjoying one another's company. So it's not all bad, as much as it sounds not ideal. It's not all bad, and we're all getting along like sisters over here, so we're pretty lucky. Yeah, it's been great, honestly. I've obviously a little bit nostalgic, and I love the old retro stickers every year they come out. But the bubble was sort of one that stuck out in my mind. I used to have one when I was a kid. I started out with the Ricky Ponting Ridgeback, and then moved to a bubble. So yeah, I loved getting it in my hands. I thought, how cool is this? Great opportunity. But in all seriousness, the bats are unbelievable. I've got 2 of them in my kit bag, and just the sound they make in the nets in particular, but also the new ball out in the middle. They fly off the bat. And I think between myself and Sophie Devine, I think's hitting them unbelievably well out in the middle at the moment. I think it shows that the quality that's there. So really enjoyed using it. I think it seems to be a perfect bat for these sort of conditions. So hopefully, like I said before, I can do it a little bit more justice and bring a few more runs for it. I've got it here. So it's come home with me today for a little nighttime snuggle, maybe just to get it warmed up for the fixture tomorrow. But it's still in pretty good nick. I mean, it's copped an absolute hammering in the nets, but it's going really strong. Yeah, the wood's in great condition. So even with a little bit of wet weather and some wet outfields and wet wickets and stuff, it's really held up. So yeah, it's in good nick. It's prime for some runs. It's just about the owner. But it's such a good-looking bat. Yeah, these are the old school, well, I call them the Ian Healy Supremes, but I think we just scrapped that, and I think they're just the Healy Supremes now because, I mean, he can't challenge me on that. So, yeah, these have been awesome. I thought I was just going to wear them in the test match in the Ashes just for a little bit of nostalgia, but they've just become like one on my hand. They've just molded to my hand so beautifully that I thought, you know, this World Cup would be great. It also matches with our kit a little bit. So, I mean, why not bring the retro back? So, yeah, they're awesome. They're so snug fitting. I mean, I'm really lucky to have Kookaburra's support. I've got the smallest hands on the planet. So for them to make a wicket-keeping glove for me is never that easy, but they've managed to do one that fits me so snug and so brilliantly in this shape. So yeah, pumped. Not only do they look great, but they feel pretty good on my hands too. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, with the bat, I can do the bowler some justice and get some dismissals. But genuinely, people have commented on the retro gear, in particular the gloves, and said, "Oh, I remember when so and so wore them," or "I had a pair of them when I first started wicket keeping." So I love that, and I love those conversations because, you know, cricket's been around for a very long time, and it's going to be around for a long time after we're gone. So the fact that we can sort of, I guess, revive some history and revive some nostalgia in some people is really cool. Yeah, it's awesome, and I guess from my point of view, it really justifies you know, us as athletes and what we're doing out there on the field. That, you know, yes, we're playing cricket, and yes, we're trying to win games for Australia, but we're also trying to grow the game and show that the young girls and boys out there that there's a future in the sport for them. And I think you know, it's as simple as that. And to see brands in particular like Kookaburra really getting behind that, support their elite players, but also support cricket at all levels, I think is really important. I mean, when I look back at sort of starting the game and coming into the sport, sort of at an elite junior level, I mean, I was lucky enough to get approached early, and I think Kookaburra gave me a bat at under 15s, and I was happy as Larry, and I know how expensive it is to play the game of cricket and to get new gear every year, and you know, and to stay in the game of cricket. So I guess the support that you know, Kookaburra in particular, with these brands are giving and enabling young players to play the game and continue to grow our sport, I think is really crucial. And the women's side of the game in particular, it's been so pleasing to watch. And some of the best players in the world have got a Kookaburra willow in their hand, and I think that's a really cool thing, that all these young girls around the world are seeing their heroes wielding a kahuna or a bubble a rapid at the minute. I mean, I look at Hayley Matthews doing some good stuff with her rapid as well. So it's great to see, you know, cricketers from all around the globe wielding some of the best willow. Well, my cliche advice is to just enjoy it. I mean, sometimes I think at that junior level, you know, you're playing it because you love it and you love your mates that are on the field with you and you love cricket for what it is, and you sort of progress through the pathways and you sort of figure out that it becomes a job. And I think that's where you sort of lose the love for the game. And for me, as a 31-year-old, I'm playing it at the elite level for as long as I have. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I enjoy those little moments, whether they be good or bad, because they're just cricket, and it's such an exciting job to have and such a great job to have that I get to travel the world and play the game. So if there's any young boys and girls out there who want to do just that, yes, you got to work hard. Yes, you got to put a bit of blood and sweat into it, but at the end of the day, you've got to enjoy it. And if you genuinely love the game of cricket, then, you know, you'll be able to take it to wherever you want to take it. So go out there with a big smile on your face and try and hit as many sixes or catch as many balls as you can, because it's a pretty cool job to have. Watch the ball, number one. It's something that even the best forget to do, including myself. Sometimes you get a little bit carried away, but watch the ball is simply as easy as you can put it. I mean, there's obviously some technical things to wicket keeping that you've got to develop over time, but if you watch the ball, then you know you're 98% chance of catching it, because you'll often get yourself in the right position. So if you watch the ball and put the hard work in, you know you'll be a good wicket keeper. And good wicket keepers are sort of the unsung heroes of the cricketing world, in that when you do something well, no one notices, but when you do something bad, everybody notices. So the more that nobody notices you, the better job you're doing. And we like to fly under the radar. So if you're doing that job, you know you're going well. The Steely Cup, yeah, well, it's obviously, for those that don't know, a golfing, tournament within our household at home. Obviously, my husband Mitch and I, we play a lot of golf in our downtime, and that's obviously something that we're allowed to do in our bubble. So that's something that we've been doing a lot in our days off, if you've probably seen. But the Steely Cup is something that we play between one another, and it's been hotly contested last year. I think last year was the closest Steely Cup we've ever had. I think it came down to 20 points, which in the context of things is not even half a round of golf. So Mitch would be pretty pleased that he got that close, but I came up with the chalkies again. So I think I've won 3 out of the 4 years we've been doing it. So he'll get me one day, but this year's pretty close already. But due to being on different sides of the planet for the last, I think, 2 months in particular, we're looking forward to getting back home in April and having 2 months of golf at home and some tough Steely Cup competition.